Smartlead just came out with a 108-page document giving away over 51 automations. And the very first automation that they talked about is automating lead responses via the Smartlead API. And so I'm going to attempt to build an inbox manager within 15 minutes. And I use ClickUp. You can use Airtable, Notion, all the same process. They all work and they're all great. But as you can see, I don't currently have an inbox manager in my ClickUp account. So we're going to be starting from scratch. This is going to be rapid fire, so we're going to be trying to build as much as we can within 15 minutes. So the very first thing you want to do is obviously build a list. I've built it. I've called it email inbox. The next thing you want to do before we even jump into start building anything, is you want to visualize the end outcome. And so the end outcome for me is whenever a lead responds, I'm going to want to see who they are. So as a task name, we can probably have this be Noel Maniraguha with Afonto, right? So this is what we would get. So when someone responds to us, we want to have their name and then we want to have their email. And by the way, I've built over 56 active automations within my agency that automate 90% of my job. This is always the process that I go through. I build everything manually to see what it looks like if I were to do it manually. And then I build the automation. So all of the SOPs come before building the automations. Okay, so we've got this. The next thing we would want to see is probably the email response. So I'm going to add a text area, and then I'm going to say email response. So email response, and then we will plop it in there. And so this is going to be what the person responded to us. And we can grab that from here. So dear sender, I'm no longer with the company. And then this is what we're going to leverage. So when a brand new email response comes in, it's going to be here so that we see what happens. And in fact, I might want to add another one, which is going to be email thread. So email thread, this is going to be really cool because it's going to allow us to see the full conversation history and then perhaps leverage something like AI to analyze the email response along with the email thread to come up with a personalized response automatically without needing our input. But this is probably more advanced. We don't have time to do this within 15 minutes. The next thing we want to do is our response. So actually probably like text area, we want to get our response. So this is what we are going to be sending to the people. The next thing you want to do is create statuses, right? So it goes to do incomplete, it completed. That's probably not what I want to do. I probably want to have different statuses. And so when I do to do, it's probably new email response, right? And then from here, I'll probably put generate response with AI, and then send to prospect, right? And this is what I'm thinking about in terms of like automating my job, right? It's like I want to build something that will work manually. And there's a lot of benefits to building it like this, and I'll get into all of them. But like I also want to have some components that can leverage AI and speed things up. And this would be that component. But you can literally skip that component and then it would work just fine. Next thing I probably want to get is a due date. So a due date and a start date. Not a start date, create date actually. So create date, date created. And that date created should be here. Is there a way? No, there's no real way to see the actual thing. But anyways, that doesn't matter. With the due date, the reason why we want to have a due date and we want to have specifically a time for the due date is so that we can keep track of the response times. And so it's currently 8:43 for me. I'm going to put this due date as 8:55, ensuring that we have to respond within 10 minutes. And so we created this at 8:40 whatever, and then 10 minutes later, 8:55, we need to send this over to the person. And if we don't do it within that period of time, Uh, Actually, probably worth having time and status, which is total time and status, ensuring that we can see how long this has been in the status, right? And we can obviously build like comprehensive reports that go into everything. So before this, it was in to do for 2 minutes, and then it went into new email response for 0 minutes, and then like from a high level perspective across every single one of our emails, we're able to see how long everything is going to be taking. And then email thread, as I mentioned, that's more advanced, so we're probably not going to be building anything for that. And then we can have the response over here. And then the other thing that I want to have is the ability to delineate this with the client. So I'd probably want to have the client, which is going to be here. And so with the client, I could choose Afonto. This is specifically for agencies who want to be able to leverage AI. And so if we were to go to the client database, Afonto is going to have, in fact, I could probably show it to you. So let's go here. So this is Afonto. With Afonto, we have a company description, value prop, pain points, and we have a whole bunch of other stuff, but the main thing that's relevant is these three things, right? So we can actually leverage AI to come up with um, email responses simply by mapping all of this information together. So at this point, we have the basic framework done. We have their response. Now we simply need to respond back to them. So as you can see, we've first of all built the framework. We've built all of the statuses that they have to go through. I'm impressed with myself because I just built this off the dome. Like I didn't prepare anything for this video. Okay, so our response. What am I going to want to respond? Uh, Sounds great, right? Just some basics thing like that. And then we move it over all the way up until the end. All right, so now we need to get the automation that creates this. So in order for us to get the automation that creates this, we need to create a webhook, which I'm currently doing on the other screen. So you simply just have to go into your settings, and then you have to go into your settings and then create that, which is what I'm doing right now. So test. And then we have to create another automation. And in this automation, it's going to start with a custom webhook. So we will create a custom webhook over here, put this webhook inside the webhook creation page. Okay, so we've just added the webhook. We'll send over a test. When I send a test webhook, it's going to come through like that. And by the way, this is the URL to create the webhook. I'm just not showing it to avoid like sensitive information, but anyways, so we've got the webhook created, and with the webhook, we are able to see the last reply. So this is what they previously replied to us, and now all we need to do is literally just create a ClickUp task. So ClickUp task. Um, we need to create a task. Yes. And on a different note, we need to do something else, which I'm going to leverage previous knowledge to do. So Afonto, and then we're going to put this. Will this work, or do you have to do like create a task advanced? Create a new task. I don't know if it will work, but we'll see. So testing space, um, and then folderless list, and then email inbox. Because what I'm looking for is the custom fields. Oh, okay, so the custom fields are here. Um, right, so what I'm gonna do is leverage previous knowledge because I have already built similar things in the past. What am I looking for? It is out of office. So out of office, step 2. And then inside this step 2, we know that, no, that's the wrong one. We know that in order for us to send the email, we need the email stats ID. So we know that we need this email stats ID. So we can actually just add that, which is going to be a text. So email stats ID. We also know that we're going to need, we don't need the email body. We need the reply message ID. right? We know that we're going to need that. So this is going to be in a text. And then we also know that we need the reply email time, which is also going to be in a text. So these are things that are just going to be hidden as custom fields, but it's going to be important for us to be able to send this information um, over as we're creating the task. So let's actually go ahead and refresh this task. So let's refresh the task so that we get all of the stuff. It requires us to give it a task name. Let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so it worked. So we've got Lawrence, we've got his information. So now what we need to do with Lawrence is basically fill that information inside here. So reply email time. It's going to be last reply email times. Reply message ID is over here. Client, we will do Afonto. Email stats ID is going to be this, and then their response. So their response is currently in HTML, right? So yeah, because we're looking at this, and I can tell that it's in HTML. So we will actually want to convert that to plain text. And there's a way to actually do that. And I don't know if I did do it here. Um, Looks like I didn't. There's a way to do it without having this specific module, but it just requires you to leverage like the formulas and replace functions. So the replace function would be this. So you would basically replace all of the HTML variables with the correct variables, but we don't have time for that again. So we're going to put the email body over here, and then we're going to paste their response over here. So boom, let's go ahead and run this. Uh, Remove put not interested again. So not interested. We do that. It runs this automation. It creates it. So yeah, we had put 5. It should not be 5. It should be again how we had prepared it before. It should be the person's name, so lead name with their lead email. And then at this point, we will run it again. Damn, we're not going to be able to get this in 30 seconds, hey? So close and that's the wrong one. But anyways, because that's just going to give me another notification. Okay, so it went through. We've got Lawrence. We've got all this information. We don't have a due date. You would just set it up there. And then we would have to put our response, which is going to be, I'm going to put sounds great, right? Yeah, we don't have time. And then at this point, we're going to then put a webhook. So webhook API. Oh no. When status. So when status changes to closed, we're going to use a webhook called webhook. And then this webhook is going to be a secondary automation. Yeah, we're not gonna get it. But I'll show you this, like I'll just quickly glance at it. So this right here actually responds. And all we're going to basically do is create a webhook that calls this URL endpoint over here. And when it calls this URL endpoint, we're basically going to put all of that information that we had previously put in. And we're also going to put in our email body as a reply message. And our reply message is going to be this one over here. So our response is what's going to be going in this email body section. And just like that, we've responded and we've got an inbox management system that allows us to send emails to clients via a tool like this. Cheers!